Hi students, good morning everyone. I am Mr. Arun Singh, your English teacher. Welcome to my English class. Dear students, today we will discuss from the book Hornbill, chapter 6. The topic is the Browning versions. Dear students, introductions. It is a very book chapter or big book, big play, but it is accepted from the Browning versions. A small play is taken from here, from the Browning versions. Your topic is a small play, but the Browning version book is a very big book, but it is extracted or it is accepted from the Browning versions. Characters and places. Mr. Coco Harris is a good teacher or strict and disciplinarian teacher. Mrs. Millie Croco Harris is the wife of Mr. Croco Harris, who always like students. Mr. Frank, a science and young teacher. Tapolo, a student set up in the school. So what happens? The play begins in a school, and the boy, 16 years boy, Taplo, he is waiting for his teacher. Which teacher? That is Mr. Croco Harris. So Taplo, a student of 16 years, the last day are the given extra work because he missed his class called by Mr. Croco Harris. Dear students, it so happened that the boy Taplo was waiting for his teacher. Which teacher? Mr. Croco Harris. He is waiting for Mr. Croco Harris that he had missed some of the classes. So before that, before the end of the day, he was called. The last day of the class, he was called, and he was waiting there, waiting for Mr. Croco Harris. As he was missed the class, in order to compensate his work, he has arrived here for doing the works, isn't it? So what happens? As he was standing there and waiting for his teacher, so Mr. Coco Harris didn't arrive. So Mr. Coco Harris had told him that you need to reach here sharp at 6:30, but it was already 6:40. Time it was already 6:40. Still then he had not arrived. Who had not arrived? Mr. Coco Harris, the teacher, strict teacher, had not arrived. And then at that time what happens? Taplo was waiting for his teacher. So told Taplo that he will come at 6:30, but it is already 6:40. So Mr. Frank, the young and science teacher, he arrives there and he asks him, whom are you waiting, or what are you doing? Then the boy Taplo says that I am waiting for my teacher, one who had told me at 6:30, but it is already 6:40. Says, who says? Mr. Frank says, the science teacher says, already 10 minutes passed. You can better go. Already 10 minutes passed. You can go and play golf, isn't it? So that is what Mr. Frank says. So Mr. Taplo waiting for Mr. Coco Harris tells him about the rules. Taplo, the boy, Taplo, he is discussing something about the rules with Mr. Frank. That the Mr. Coco Harris, the teacher, is a very strict teacher. He doesn't follow anything, and all the teachers, they announce the results, except Mr. Coco Harris. He didn't say till now. Then what happens? The science teachers tells him that the result will be announced at the last day by the headmaster or the school principal, isn't it? That is what Mr. Frank tells him, and he convinces him. So at that time what happens? Results will be announced by the headmaster on the last day of the term. Then discussion on science takes place between Taplo and a science teacher, Mr. Frank. So if at all, if you are excelling yourself, or if you if you are promoted, then will you study? Mr. Frank is asking to Taplo that will you study science? Then what happens? At the same time, Taplo was very much elated. He was very much happy hearing the word from the science teacher that he is asking to take science. So Mr. Frank says students are slacker or very poor students are there. In science, in my group, in science department, there are so many poor students. So it is good that you please, if you are promoted, please come and join and take science class. So that is what he says. So at that time, the boy Taplo indicates the book which he was what is called holding or catching. The book he indicates which the play of the Agamemnon. He calls it the book. He calls that it is a mark, as it was a lot of what is that Greek words were there. So he was not at all what is called interested on the book, on the play. So he thinks that the plot was good, no doubt, but the plot was terrible. That is why he was not that much interested to study or to what is called read that book. So that is why he was very much interested to take science. So the Taplo not sure whether Mr. Coco Harris will give him promotion or remove. I mean, say he will give what is called good result or not. That is what he was not at all sure. He was doubting himself. The last, because he is called at the last day, isn't it? For in order to compensate his work. If he doesn't give or if he is not removed, that means if he is not promoted, then what will he do? Isn't it? So dear students, just give me 1 second. Let me erase it and again I will write it down, the next things. So dear students, as the discussion was going on between Taplo and Mr. Frank, the science teacher. So meanwhile, what happens? Views about Mr. Coco Harris. They were discussing the what is called the boy. Taplo was criticizing, giving his view about Mr. Coco Harris. What he is telling, that he is imitating his voice, exactly quoting his voice, taking his voice, and he is imitating and criticizing that. What he said, my dear Taplo, what is telling? My dear Taplo, I have given you exactly deserve, no less, no more, isn't it? The boy Taplo is quoting and giving the view about Mr. Coco Harris or criticizing that my dear Taplo, I have given you exactly deserve, no less and no more. Mr. Franks, the science teacher, tell the Taplo to go and play. When the what is called discussion was going on, when he was criticizing, the boy Taplo was criticizing and telling and something about the views about the Mr. Coco Harris. At that time, what happens? Already it is 10 minutes past. Yes or no? He was called at 6:30, but it is already 6:40. So all the things about the results, all the teachers they told, but Mr. Coco Harris didn't tell. So that is what all the discussion was going on at that time. What says Mr. Frank, the science teacher? Already 10 minutes past. Why are you standing here? Or why are you waiting? Better you go and play golf. That is what? Who said? Mr. What is called Frank said. The science teacher said. Then Taplo replies, he cannot cut. He cannot cut Mr. Coco Harris. Why? Because he is a very strict teacher. He cannot disobey him. He cannot cut his word. Yes or no? So I need not to go and play. Better I will be standing here only and waiting. In case sir will reach here. Yes or no? In case Mr. Coco Harris will come, so he may follow to home. That is the mentality of the boy Taplo. Then what happens? Taplo tells, Mr. Coco Harris is not a sadist. See, he is criticizing, telling that he is very heartless person. He is like a nut. He is like a nut. He is just inhuman. We say, yes or no? Inhuman, hardly human. He says, but at the same time, Taplo, the boy is again telling that he is not sadist. What is that sadist means? The person's one who gives pain and enjoys. That is called the sadist. But Mr. Coco Harris is not like that. He is a sadist person. Yes or no? He is not a sadist. Sorry, he is not a sadist. He don't give or he doesn't give what is called pain to the other students. He seems to hate people to like him. Like him people he hates, but he likes Mr. Coco Harris. Taplo, he criticizes, he gives his view that he is heartless person, he is like a nut, he is hardly human, and he doesn't like like me people. That is what he says. But at the same time he says that who says he is not a sadist. He doesn't give pain and enjoys. He seems to hate like me people, but then he is a very good. All the children, they like him, and he has a strong hold over the students. That means all the students, they respect him, and he is the only one who follows strictly rule up to the last end of the day. That is what Mr. Coco Harris said by given view by Taplo, the students. So next what happens? Mr. Coco Harris jokes. So it so happened that the boy was attending class, and what happened? Mr. Coco Harris made a joke. Made a joke, and the joke was in Latin. So that is why none of the students, they understood. Only who? Taplo, just make him to understand. For his sake, what he did, he just laughed out. Who laughed out? Boy. Taplo laughed out to make happy to Mr. Coco Harris. That means it is not understandable by him, or he didn't understand. Still, to make him happy, just he laughed at. Then what happens? Mr. Coco Harris asked him, as if you know everything, or you understood. Nobody understood you. That means you progressed in Latin. Could you please come and explain it? Taplo was asked by Mr. Coco Harris that, or Mr. Coco Harris is requesting to Taplo that better you come forward and explain to the whole class. So all the things, when he was giving view, when he was criticizing within Taplo, within what is that? Mr. Frank, the science teacher, at the same time what happens? Arrival of Millie Coco Harris. Oh, that means Millie Coco Harris. Which Millie Coco Harris? She is the wife of Mr. Coco Harris, isn't it? So at that time what happens? Millie Coco Harris arrives there slowly, unnoticed way, isn't it? Without making any noisy or any sound, she enters there, and she is a very thin woman, under 30 years, and wearing a cap and carrying a shopping basket. Then greets Mr. Frank as she came out from the outside, and as she was coming without unnoticing way or without making sounds. When she came there, at that time what happens? She was wearing cap and well dressed, smartly dressed, unlike other teachers' wives. Yes or no? So she was smart dressed, and then what happens? She started greeting to Mr. Frank, the science teacher. Then what happened? Taplo wonders whether she heard their, what is that? Conversation, isn't it? So the conversation was taken place between whom? Taplo and Mr. Frank. He was criticizing that he is heartless man, he is like a nut, he is hardly human, all those things. And he had quoted them, what is called sentence, that my dear, what is called Taplo, I have given exactly what you said, all those things. So meanwhile, she reached there, and it was known that that Mr. Frank was thought already it was heard by Mrs. Millie Coco Harris, isn't it? So he knew, Mr. Frank thought that already it is heard by, the conversation is heard by Mrs. Coco Harris. Then Taplo was wondering, he was what is called fearing, that means yes or no, he was fearing that if these things, if it is delegated or informed, or what is called all the things, whatever they were discussing, if the matter is informed to her husband or Mr. Coco Harris, then what will happen? Definitely he will get a good, what's called bad result, isn't it? Definitely he will get a bad result. That means he won't be removed or he won't be promoted. So that is what he was fearing. Who was fearing? Children? Taplo, the boy Taplo was fearing. He was in a worry. Yes or no? He was worried. Then conversation between Millie and Taplo taken place. What happened? Millie asked Taplo if he has been waiting for her husband. Millie is asking, are you waiting for my husband? Mr. Kokohari is busy somewhere else at Barsar. He is busy and he will be late definitely. Better you can leave. You can come maybe after quarter of an hour. Yes or no? Maybe after 15 minutes or something like that. Then you can come back. Better you go away. So that is what who said? Mrs. Millie Kokoharis told to the boy, better you leave and then come back maybe after 15 minutes. Then what happens? At the time she takes out from the basket and gives the prescription to the boy. Better you go to the chemist and get it the medicines. Whatever is prescribed. The prescription is taken out and given to the boy, Taplo, and the boy goes and gets the medicines. So meanwhile what happens? Agrees to take blame in case Mr. Kokohari comes. So Mrs. Millie Kokoharis is telling to Taplo, in case her husband comes, that she will take the blame. So better you leave. You go and don't worry, I will take the risk. No worries. Then what happens? At last Taplo leaves the place with happily. The boy Taplo, what happens? He moves out. Thank you, students. I hope all of you understood. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.